wondering how I got into this mix.
Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we're talking about Agorism and Counter-Economics in Mexico. Before I tell you guys what the hell that means, first off, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, where you can get all of our latest content, including essays, articles, vlogs, interviews, and books about Agorism and Counter-Economics. So please visit theconsciousresistance.com, go into our search bar and search Agorism, that's Agorism, Agorism as in the Greek agora or marketplace, and also search Counter-Economics as in the counter economy, sometimes known as the informal economy, the underground economy, System D, the black market, or the gray market. So if you're familiar with my work, then you are familiar with these concepts. But essentially, what you are seeing right now, you see people in the streets set up here. This is where I am at in Mexico. No, I'm not going to say where at, but this is one of many marketplaces in Mexico and in many places that are called quote-unquote third world. You see these stands, people selling all kinds of food outside, selling clothes, selling dishes, selling housewares, selling electronics, more and more food, spices, all kinds of things, plants. And this is a weekly Friday market right near where I'm at. And it's beautiful. We talked to the people. They said they had to pay 35 pesos to be a part to get an official one of these yellow covers, which is about the equivalent of $1.50 US. And other than that, though, I don't think the money's going to the local government or the municipal government. It could be. But from what I know, this is the counter economy in action. Now, the counter economy, the informal economy, is essentially just the non-taxed, non-state economy. Now, you have to understand that in the philosophy of agorism, which comes from the philosopher Samuel Konkin III, and I've written about this in my book, Manifesto of the Free Humans, as well as my most recent work, How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State, how Konkin understood that most of the world existed outside of the mainstream economy, what he called the white market. This is the statist, taxed, controlled, monitored economy that most people exist in, especially if you have a day job and you get money taken out of your check, then you're existing in this reality. Now, this is not to rag on anybody other than just to say this means you are participating in the state's economy, you're paying taxes, you're funding war, you're funding violence, and those sorts of things. Yes, you are under duress, but it's the fact. And so Konkin realized that if we're ever going to change that, we have to look to the counter economy, the informal economy, the underground economy, and see how people all around the world are coming together and they're setting up markets like this. He talked about markets in Peru, he talked about markets in India, he talked about the Russian, Soviet black market, we can talk about the North Korean black market, the Chinese black market. People want information, they want good, they want goods and want foods. So people have, since time immemorial, set up agoras or markets to come together and exchange ideas and debate and discuss and share food. And in the United States and other places that are quote unquote more civilized, you have heavy taxes and regulations in order for people to enter these type of marketplaces. And those are known as barriers to entry. It's keeping people from being able to get in and provide their services and their entrepreneurship and better their lives. So it keeps them from being able to improve their situation. Whereas in places like this, the governments tend to be weaker, and so they can't go after every single person who's selling food, selling clothes, making music, cleaning windows, doing tricks in the street. I mean, you see all kinds of different things because everybody's a hustler, everybody's an entrepreneur. And this is what Konkin talked about. He believed that if we look to the counter economy, which is a lot of people doing it out of just necessity and survival, and those of us in the quote unquote first world start pulling our money and our time and our energy out of the centralized banking fractional reserve in the United States, the Federal Reserve System, but wherever you're at, the state economy, and we move towards the gray and black markets, we can take our power and our value away from the state and we can inject it into the new world as we create a better world. And so that was the whole argument that he was making. So if we consciously take our money, our time, and our energy away from their economy, and I take it even further and say their food system, their religions, their education system, their healthcare system, etc., we take all of our money and resources away from the state and the corporate state powers and the various complexes that work together, including the technocracy, and we don't vote them out because that's not going to work. Don't try to violently overthrow them, except in defense. But instead we build something better. So that's what the counter-economics and the agorism is all about. It's about building towards this envisioned place, the agora, the open market where free ideas and free goods can exchange without third-party interference, the state, corporations, the cartel, the mafia, whatever. And so what you're seeing here is a video of people who are just doing this on a regular basis. Now, one of the other thing I'll tell you about agorism is the difference between the black and the gray market. What you're seeing here, most of these exchanges are likely gray market because, as I said, they do have to pay 35 pesos to be out there. But I don't believe it's going to the government. So it's basically just two people coming together. I come over there with pesos and I buy mangoes because they have the best mangoes on the block. And these people sell them to me at a good deal. And we make that exchange and nobody's getting taxed. I guarantee you none of these people are keeping track of their finances so they can report it to the government, and especially not at a place like this. So that would be a gray market exchange. The reason it's gray market and not necessarily full-on anarchist or agorist or counter-economic is because we're still using the peso, which is the state's currency. Now, if this was an exchange between me and these individuals, they're out there at a marketplace, which is in this sort of gray area where there's not taxes being paid, and we were using an alternative currency, say a cryptocurrency or silver, other precious metals, or bartering, well, then that would be, a full-on agorist exchange. And then even further than that, when it comes to the black market, let's imagine that these stands eventually get shut down because, as you may notice, there are people in here who are wearing masks, and you can see some of these markets, they have a sneeze guard kind of thing over the top of them. Those weren't there last week, so changes are coming. Perhaps in the next week or so, the state might order people to close and say they can't operate. So then if they chose to still operate while it was quote unquote illegal, and for example, we got a number of people's numbers who sell fruit, who sell avocados, and told them if something happens, we want to be able to get in touch with you, and they want to be able to make sales, so they're happy to give us their numbers. But let's say that the state says it's illegal, and so we meet in some back alley to buy coconuts from some, entrepreneur out there, and the state says that we're not allowed to do that because of COVID-19. That is black market. That would technically be illegal, and we would be doing it anyways. So that's what you call a black market exchange. It's doing something, even though the state says it's quote unquote illegal, because it's necessary, because it empowers you, because it empowers the other person. And a gray market is basically where it's still technically legal. It might be in a gray area, but it is at least an exchange without taxes being paid and that sort of thing. So just briefly, guys, this has been a short video about agorism and counter-economics in Mexico. I hope you guys enjoy these clips. I will be here in Mexico for a little while. I might be visiting the US briefly soon, but other than that, I'm out here building, checking out land, and trying to figure out how we can build the conscious agora that I've been writing about and talking about for years. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please stay tuned for our next videos. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.